we wouldn't be here at this point without the very strong support, particularly of Councilmember Ellen Cohen. And in fact, if I hadn't been moving to present such an ordinance, I think she would have been standing behind me, pushing me. I also want to thank Councilmember Mike Laster, who has been strongly involved in moving this forward. I'm particularly gratified that in addition to the faith leaders who are here today, we have some of our fellow elected officials. You know, it's not always easy for an elected official to weigh in on an issue that doesn't directly affect their elective body. We tend to want to say, okay, you know, go talk to the state or go talk to the county. Almost every one of the elected officials that I have talked to who actually represent the core of the city of Houston has said, yes, we believe there should be an equal rights ordinance. And while there were several others who wanted to be here today and could not, I am particularly grateful that State Senator Rodney Ellis and State Representative Sylvester Turner are here. First, I'm going to ask Senator Ellis to step forward.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much, Mayor. I'm very proud to be here in support of this amendment. As it relates to this issue, Mayor, I am not only a student of history, I happen to have lived through this one. Because roughly 30 years ago, the Houston City Council put forth a very similar but not as expansive and not as good of an ordinance as you're putting forth today. I'm glad that I was on the right side of history then, and I'm going to be on the right side of history this go-around. I made 3 quick trips to New York last week. 3 times because I wanted to get back to Houston as quick as I could. I did a bike ride, of course, with about 35,000 people from around the country last Sunday. All they wanted to talk about when they saw that Bike Texas jersey on my back was, will Houston join other great diverse cities on the globe in passing this ordinance? And I said yes. And then, Mayor, I went back with some prominent Houstonians for Innocence Project Gala, creme de la creme of New York, giving money to help us with criminal justice issues here. All they wanted to know was, would we pass this ordinance? And then I went back with the Johnson family to watch that play all the way, as in LBJ. It's interesting that the first battle in terms of civil rights was the public accommodations, Rem Lawson, integrating simple things like golf courses, housing, and other issues. The Voting Rights Act had to come later, and might I add, after a few significant deaths for that issue to pass. I'm going to be on the right side of history because I think it's a fundamental right in this country and on this globe for people not to be discriminated against regardless of what they look like, where they come from, what challenges they may have in life, or who they decide to love. That's why I'm going to support this ordinance. And Mayor, the last point I want to make is that if any group of Houstonians decide to exercise their right to take this issue to the ballot box so that the voters make the ultimate decision, unlike Rodney Ellis, who was heavier and had a lot more hair, but not as much wisdom back in 1984 as I have in 2014. I'm going to be there fighting tooth and nail to make sure the voters of Texas, of Houston, understand what's at stake. And a great city with great leaders does not sit back and let people decide to turn against one another simply because of who they choose to love. Thank you, and I'm proud to support the mayor and council.